Brian Taylor might be one of the most underrated guards in ABA history. He was a second-round pick at the 1972 NBA draft, but he chose to play in the ABA, joining the New York Nets. Brian's all-around game made him a valuable piece on 2 championship teams, as he was extremely quick with a smooth pull-up jumper. He had three-point range, but he didn't mind driving to the basket. Brian was a lockdown perimeter defender as well, averaging over 2 steals a game for his career. There really wasn't much that he couldn't do on the court, but being teammates with a superstar like Dr. J meant that he wasn't mentioned as much as he should be. He's not even on the ABA all-time team, despite most of his accomplishments coming in the league with the red, white, and blue ball. But today's video will shed light on one of the ABA's best-kept secrets. Welcome to PG Hoops, and this is another episode of ABA Tales. Brian was born on June 9, 1951 in Perth Amboy, New Jersey. He was a star at Perth Amboy High as he won a state title as a junior, scoring 2,500 points in his high school career, even dropping 84 points in a game. As a top player in the country, Brian had over 400 college offers, but because he valued education and he wanted to stay close to home, he committed to Princeton. The fans got a good look of their new star as he averaged 29 points a game and led the freshman team to a 17-0 record. Brian joined Ted Monakis in the backcourt, forming a solid duo for the Tigers. They had a top 25 defense, but their offense was lacking tremendously, even with Brian's outstanding production. They were struggling at the midpoint, sitting at 6-10 in February, but they went on a 7-game winning streak to finish the season with some dignity at 14-11. Brian was a first-team All-Ivy League member, earning Rookie of the Year honors, with averages of 24 points and 5 rebounds on 50% shooting. Brian would add to his resume in the summer, playing for Team USA in the Pan American Games, leading the team in scoring and winning the gold medal. The Tigers were rolling in 1971, starting 5-1, with wins over North Carolina and Villanova. They were ranked for the first time in 5 years, and they continued this momentum, finishing the regular season with an improved 19-6 record. They finished 12-2 in the Ivy League, 1 game behind Penn, so the Tigers had to settle for the NIT. Brian was a top 15 scorer in the nation, making the first team All-Conference again, averaging 25 points and 7 rebounds on 52% shooting. The Tigers beat Indiana in the first game of the tournament, but they lost a close one to Niagara. After his junior year, Brian made an unpopular decision, choosing to leave school early and turn pro. People around campus questioned his abilities, even sending him hateful letters in the mail, but he was confident in himself, especially knowing the opportunity he had to support his family. He declared for the NBA draft as a hardship case and was drafted by the Carolina Cougars and the Seattle Supersonics. But once the Cougars traded him to the Nets, he chose to play in the ABA. The Nets were a young team, but they were promising, as Brian joined Bill Melchionni in the backcourt. George Carter, Jim Chones, and Billy Paultz rounded out a nice starting lineup. Brian dropped 25 points and 6 steals on 9-15 shooting in his 4th career game. He displayed his extremely efficient scoring, putting up a 4-game stretch in November, averaging 24 points on 65% shooting. On December 13th against Memphis, he put up 33 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists on 15 of 20 shooting. Brian dropped 3 30-point games, 4 games with at least 5 assists, and 3 games with at least 3 steals. His scoring prowess earned him the Rookie of the Year award, but the Nets still had the worst offense in the league, finishing 30-54. Brian averaged 15 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists on 52% shooting. The Nets still made the playoffs, facing the Cougars in the semifinals. Brian averaged 13 points as the team split the first 2 games. He broke out in Game 3 with 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists on 10 of 14 shooting, but the Nets still lost by 10. He put up 17 total points in the next 2 games, as the Nets lost the series in 5. New York turned into title contenders in the offseason, signing John Williamson, Larry Keenan, and most importantly, Julius Erving. Brian wasn't asked to be the main scorer anymore, so he was effective with his elite defense and passing. He dropped 20 points, 3 rebounds, and 7 assists on Halloween, shooting 9 of 13. On December 2nd against Carolina, he put up 14 points, 8 assists, and 7 steals, along with 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 6 steals on March 22nd against San Diego. Brian played well in his new role, finishing 10th in assists, 6th in steals, and 16th in defensive rating. Dr. J won the MVP as the Nets cruised to a 55-29 record. Brian averaged 11 points, 3 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 2 steals. He shot 61% from the field in a gentleman's sweep of the Squires, while dropping 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists in the series-clinching Game 4 of the division finals against Kentucky. The Nets made the ABA finals facing the Utah Stars. He had modest production in the first 2 games, but the Nets won both. Over the next 3 games, he averaged 17 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 steals, shooting 54% as the Nets captured the title in Game 5. Brian continued to improve in 1974, dropping 30 points and 3 steals against the Spurs on November 21st. He put up 21 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, and 5 steals on December 14th against the Cardinals. On Valentine's Day against San Diego, he dropped 26 points and a career-high 9 steals. Julius Erving won another MVP as the Nets had 4 All-Stars, including Bryant. He was top 15 in field goal percentage, leading the league in steals, making the first team All-Defense and second team All-ABA. The Nets finished 58-26 as Bryant averaged 14 points, 3 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 3 steals. As New York faced Kentucky in a tiebreaker for the first seed, he put up 17 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. But Artis Gilmore had an insane performance with 28 points, 33 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 blocks, guiding the Cardinals to a 9-point win. The Nets were bumped down to the second seed, facing the Spirits in the semifinals. Bryant struggled all series, averaging 6 points on 36% shooting as the Nets were upset in 5 games. The Nets got better defensively in 1975, signing Ted McClain and Kim Hughes. Larry Keenan was traded to the Spurs, so Bryant had an even larger role in the offense. His 3-point shooting was on display this year, shooting 57% from deep in the first 2 months. He had a week in January where he averaged 28 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists on 56% shooting. On April 4th against Virginia, he dropped a career-high 40 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 4 steals. Bryant was top 20 in defensive rating and field goal percentage, 4th in steals, and 1st in free-point percentage, making another All-Star and All-Defensive team. Dr. J won his 3rd straight MVP as the Nets finished 55-29, with Bryant averaging 17 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2.5 steals. The semifinal series against the Spurs was a back-and-forth battle, as Bryant dropped 3 20-point games, but on low efficiency. The Nets got past the Spurs in Game 7, but got another trip to the finals, facing the Nuggets. Bryant put up 23 in Game 4 and 24 in Game 6, as the Nets won this game, securing another title in what would be the last game in ABA history. Bryant and Jim Eakins were traded along with 2 first-rounders to Kansas City for Nate Archibald. He joined former ABA great Ron Boone in the backcourt, while Scott Wedman, Sam Lacey, and Richard Washington rounded out the starting lineup. In his NBA debut, he dropped 17 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 5 steals. On December 1st against Cleveland, he put up 17 points, a career-high 12 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals. He had 4 30-point games, 37 games with at least 5 assists, and 12 games with at least 5 steals. Ron Boone was a top 15 scorer, and Bryant was second in steals, making the second team All-Defense, but their 40-42 record wasn't enough for the playoffs. In his first NBA season, Bryant averaged 17 points, 3.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 3 steals. Bryant was traded to the Nuggets in the offseason for Tom Burleson. His numbers were way down in the first half of the season, but on January 16th, Bryant declared himself a free agent as he claimed the Nuggets had violated his 1-year, $300,000 contract. I was supposed to get a $250,000 interest-free loan that was supposed to be paid to me in installments, said Bryant at the time. I received the first $150,000. The second $50,000 payment was 19 days late before I received it. The final payment was due January 1st. I gave them 15 days to make good on the payment, and when they didn't, I chose to become a free agent. I thought that this was the best course for me. The Nuggets took this case to an arbitrator, and while he granted Bryant's request to become a free agent, he also ruled that he breached his contract and was ordered to repay some of his salary back to Denver. A lot of teams were hesitant to sign Bryant partly because of his agent Abdul Jalil, but also due to his history of contract disputes with his former teams, as some coaches felt that he was difficult. Bryant wouldn't sign with another team until February of 1979, joining the San Diego Clippers as guard depth. On March 23rd against the Lakers, he dropped 13 points and 6 steals in 29 minutes, then followed that up with 10 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals 2 games later. The Clippers went 12-8 after signing Taylor, but their 43-39 record wasn't enough for the playoffs. In his shortened season, Bryant averaged 4 points, 1.5 rebounds, 1 assist, and a steal. He joined World B. Free in the starting lineup as he went back to his usual production in 1980. He was shooting the 3-ball well this season, even making 5 of them on November 18th against the Bucks. He had a week in January where he averaged 25 points, 4 assists, and 3 steals on 67% shooting and 55% from 3. He had 10 games with 3 or more 3-pointers, as in the first season of the NBA adopting the 3-point line, he led the league in makes and attempts. Bryant had 14 20-point games, 27 games with at least 5 assists, and 24 games with at least 3 steals. Worrell finished second in scoring, and Sven Nader led the league in rebounding, but the Clippers really weren't that talented of a team, as their 35-47 record wasn't enough for the playoffs. Bryant averaged 14 points, 2.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 2 steals. Worrell was traded in 1980, as Phil Smith, Michael Brooks, and Jelly Bean Bryant made up the new starting lineup. Bryant had a smaller role in the offense this year, but he had an amazing performance on November 4th against Dallas with 31 points, shooting 11 of 12 from the field, including 3 for 3 from deep. On March 15th against the Lakers, he dropped 31 points and 9 assists, shooting 12 of 16 from the field and 4 for 4 from 3. He had 5 double-doubles as he led the league in three-point percentage. The Clippers really didn't improve this year, finishing 36 and 46, as Bryant averaged 10 points, 2 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 2 steals. There was a glimmer of hope in San Diego as they drafted Tom Chambers. The team wasn't contending, so Bryant got more playing time as he changed his play style, becoming more of a distributor, averaging 11 points and 6.5 assists, shooting 47% from 3 in the month of November. He dropped 23 points, 3 rebounds, 11 assists, and 3 steals on December 11th against the Bullets, and 32 points, 6 assists, and 2 steals on 13 of 15 shooting against the Nuggets on January 17th. But February 7th would be his last NBA game as he tore his Achilles, missing the rest of the season. Bryant averaged 11 points, 2.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and a steal. Bryant retired after this season, returning to Princeton to finish his political science degree. He worked in the education system, even becoming the headmaster of Telos Preparatory Academy in 2012. In 2016, Bryant was hired by Princeton again to be a mentor to students. Brian Taylor was an ABA legend as his complete game helped the Nets win 2 titles. He was an excellent slasher, a great shooter from all 3 levels, a solid passer, and an elite defender. He could adapt his game to fit any role that was needed to help the team. Although he was one of the ABA's best players, he was somehow left off the all-time team. Brian was one of the first 3-and-D guards in basketball history, as he also set a trend, being one of the first college stars to leave early for the pros. Man, thank you guys. I really appreciate y'all for watching. I always saw Brian Taylor because it's like, I look at what he's doing. I like players that can literally do everything on the court. You can average 3 steals a game. You can give me 6 assists and you can shoot 40% from 3. That dude is the ultimate player. Like, he can fit any role. Like, he could be a starter. He could be a guy off the bench. He just had a really complete game. You know, I feel like he was still underrated. It's still kind of crazy how he accomplished so much in the ABA, but yet he's not on the all-time team. Like, he won 2 titles. Brian Taylor was a dog, man. Like, what I seen of him, he was a great player. He was a crazy good shooter, man. Like, great shooter, a great slasher, a really good defender. He's a good passer. He's a very good rebounder for someone his size, too. He was a good rebounder for someone who was like 6'2". Thank you for watching. I really appreciate y'all. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Turn my post notifications on. But thank you. Please be safe. I'm out. Peace.